Hello everyone. Day 4 of the Grumpy Little Girls is called the Grumpy Little Girls and the Naughty Little Boy. Enjoy!
"Oh, Fizz, don't make such a fuss," said her mum. "It's only for a few days." "I don't care," shouted Fizz from near the top of the tallest tree in the garden. "I hate him, and I'm not going to play with him." "He's not bad," said Fizz's mum. "And anyway, he may have changed. It's ages since you last saw him." Just then, the front doorbell rang. "That'll be them now." "Don't care," said Fizz, very grumpily indeed. "Not coming down." Fizz's cousin Archie was coming to stay with his mum. Fizz liked her auntie, whose name was Elaine, but Archie was only little, but he was big trouble. "Bang, bang, bang, blap, boom!" yelled Archie, pointing his spoon at Fizz. It was just after lunch, and Fizz and Archie were in the garden, where they'd had their pudding. "Fizz dead!" shouted Archie. "Fizz lie down!" "No," said Fizz. Archie stirred the spoon round and round in his melted ice cream. Then he flicked the spoon as hard as he could towards Fizz. "Splash!" he shouted happily, flicking his spoon again. Fizz sighed. This was even worse than she'd thought. Archie had already broken the heads off 2 of her Astro Pets, thrown her new skipping rope down the loo, and pulled all the tape out of her favorite Yig and Yog video. Just then, one of Fizz's big brothers came into the garden. Maybe he'd help her deal with Archie. "Hey, Fizz, hey, Archie," he said. "Seen my skateboard?" "Boom, blat, chagga, chagga, chagga," bellowed Archie. "Joel dead." "Cool," muttered Joel, disappearing inside. It was no good, thought Fizz. She'd have to escape. While Archie was busy stamping on some ants, she started climbing the tree again, as quickly as she could. Meanwhile, not far away, Maisie was having trouble with the little boy too. A very little boy. She was playing with the Blob. At least, she was trying to. They were in a rowing boat, surrounded by hungry sharks. But the Blob, whose real name was Sebastian, kept crawling out of the boat and into the sea. "Stupid Blob," growled Maisie grumpily. "Now the sharks have eaten you." Fizz was nearly halfway up the tree before Archie noticed. "Fizz, come down!" he shouted. But she just went on climbing. Archie looked at the tree thoughtfully. "Archie climb," he announced, marching towards it. Oh no, thought Fizz. It was quite a difficult tree, so he'd be sure to fall down and hurt himself. Or he'd get stuck, and they'd have to call the fire brigade. "It's all right, Archie, I'm coming down," she called miserably. Suddenly, Fizz had a good idea. Of course! She'd ask Ruby round to help her. Everyone always did what Ruby told them. Everyone except Archie. He bit Ruby. Ruby pointed her finger at Archie and told him to play quietly in the sandpit, and he just leaned forward and snapped his teeth together. Ruby screamed so loudly that Fizz's mum and Elaine came rushing out. "I am sorry," said Elaine when she saw the bite marks. "I'm afraid he does that sometimes." At Maisie's house, the Blob was still causing problems. He was supposed to be helping the most famous chef in the world to prepare a feast for 6 princesses. But he just kept on knocking things over and drinking all the champagne. "Oh, Blob," sighed Maisie. "You're hopeless at pretending." For a little while after biting Ruby, Archie was good. But only a very little while. Soon he was charging around the garden, knocking the tops off flowers with a long piece of bamboo and growling at the girls when they tried to stop him. Fizz and Ruby looked at each other. "Maybe Lulu would know what to do," said Fizz. So they rang Lulu and asked her to come and play. They didn't say anything about Archie. Lulu arrived a little later with an interesting shaped lump in her sweatshirt. "Show Alvin to Archie," said Fizz, thinking that might calm him down a bit. Lulu pulled out a large brown rat. "Archie hold mouse," said Archie. "He's a rat, silly," said Lulu, putting Alvin on her shoulder. "And I don't think you'd better hold him. He sometimes bites." "So does Archie," said Ruby, showing her poor finger to Lulu. Archie saw his chance. He reached up, grabbed Alvin, and raced off towards the house with him. "Quick!" shouted Lulu. "We've got to rescue Alvin!" And the girls started chasing Archie around the garden. Luckily, Archie thought this was such a good game that he lost interest in Alvin, who wriggled out of his fat little hands. Lulu quickly scooped Alvin up and tucked him safely back inside her sweatshirt. The girls collapsed, exhausted, on the lawn. Archie jumped up and down, shouting, "Chase Archie! Chase Archie!" "What are we going to do?" said Fizz. "I know," said Ruby. "We could lock him in the shed." "I don't think that would be very kind," said Fizz. "Or we could get a very long roll of sticky tape and stick him to the tree," said Lulu, who was still upset about Alvin's narrow escape. "I suppose we could ask Maisie to come and help," said Fizz doubtfully. "She might know what to do with him." "But do you think she did?" Well, yes. When Maisie arrived a little later, she knew exactly what to do with Archie. She took one look at him and said, "Oh, what a darling baby gorilla." Everybody looked at Archie. For a moment, Archie looked at Maisie. Then he swung his arms low to the ground and started making soft hoo, hoo, hoo noises. "Archie Griller," he grunted. "Come on," said Maisie to the others. "Pretend we're filming ladies with television cameras and the baby gorilla is hiding in that bush over there." As soon as he heard this, Archie went and hid in the bush. When the girls got tired of that game, they were strict teachers, and Archie was a very well-behaved little boy who just started at their school. And after that, they were kind mummy dinosaurs, and he was a newborn stegosaurus who was so tiny he couldn't walk or make any noise yet. At tea time, Fizz's mum and Elaine came into the garden. "Oh, doesn't he look adorable?" said Fizz's mum. "I hope he hasn't been a nuisance," said Elaine. Fizz and Ruby looked at each other. "No, he's been a brilliant little stegosaurus," said Maisie, wondering if she might be able to swap the blob for Archie. The end.